Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Political journalist Vanya Driscoll has published an analysis of the Alliance presidential candidates. She has observed that while Elijah Beck seems content with the status quo, Fazia Silva has promised to boost the economy, and current President Gibson Kincaid has proposed that the role should include executive powers. In other news, business magnate Lloyd Hardacre has been arrested for corporate fraud after his personal administrative robot revealed incriminating evidence. The incident took place during the annual general meeting of Copernicus Shipping Limited, a firm founded by Mr. Hardacre. Lieutenant Inspector Ramesh Thorne of the Federal Security Service is investigating. Independent reporter Gethin Okonkwo has revealed that he has been living undercover in the Far God cult for 3 months. According to his account, the cult has no contact with the Argoids, with most of its followers being harmless fatalists. Mr. Okonkwo recorded his experience using concealed micro-cameras, and has shared his data with the Federal Intelligence Agency, hoping to prove that the sect is not dangerous. Meanwhile, 2 rival technology companies, Supertech and Herculean Machines, have appealed for commodities to support the release of forthcoming products. Supertech is developing a personal computing device called the Talk, while Herculean Machines is working on a machine called the Duradrive. Both companies are hoping that the support of the Galactic community will allow them to share working prototypes at a technology expo on the 3rd of October. Finally, the Libertas Cooperative has announced that its appeal for commodities has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the Galactic community. Land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponics systems, and marine equipment were delivered to Ochranoxus orbiter over the past week, allowing construction of a megaship where manatees will be farmed. And those are the main stories this week. Inside the Far God cult. Independent reporter, Gethin Okonkwo, who was previously thought missing, has revealed that he has been living undercover within the Far God cult for the past 3 months. In an op-ed piece, Mr. Okonkwo shared his experiences. I was fascinated
Incoming mission-critical message.
by Dr. Ralyanov's research, and I desperately
Incoming mission-critical message.
wanted to understand this doomsayer cult further, so I decided to covertly study the Far God sect by posing as an adherent. During this time, I visited hive chapels in several different systems, narrowly escaping death when one was attacked by the Church of Eternal Void. On many occasions, I was physically and verbally abused by members of the public, including Juanita Bishop's campaign followers. At no point did I see evidence of actual contact with the Argoids, bar the occasional use of alien material as holy artifacts. Most worshippers are essentially fatalists, attracted to the idea of an apocalypse. Some are convinced that they alone will survive the Far God's manifestation. It is a strange and often contradictory faith, but no less so than other religions. I recorded my experiences within the sect using concealed micro-cameras. I am voluntarily sharing this data with the Federal Intelligence Agency to prove that the Far God sect is not dangerous, and with the hope of ending its persecution. The presidential power struggle. With
Superstrength retracted. Clear for departure.
the Alliance presidential race gathering speed, political journalist, Vanya Driscoll, has published an analysis in the Alliance Tribune. The election of a new president is usually a ceremonial matter, during which voters select a public face for the Alliance, but this year is a genuine power struggle.
Landing gear retracted.
One that may have major consequences. Elijah Beck is the only candidate who seems content with the status quo. By contrast, entrepreneur Fazia Silva promises to boost the economy and increase commerce. Her new financial policies have been welcomed by interstellar corporations and small businesses alike. President Gibson Kincaid is causing the most controversy, however. His proposal that the role of president should include executive powers is being taken seriously by the Assembly. Kincaid claims that having a single controlling voice will enable the Alliance to
Frameshift drive charging.
challenge unrivaled dominance. There is surprising amount of support for this combative rhetoric. Many agree that the Alliance could be stronger, and that Prime Minister Mahone is often hamstrung by bureaucracy. Rumors suggest that the Empire and Federation are watching this election far more closely than usual. Manatee Megaship Initiative concludes. The Libertas Cooperative has announced that its appeal for commodities has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the galactic community. Land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponic systems and marine equipment were delivered to Okrinox's orbiter over the past week, allowing construction of a megaship where manatees will be farmed. With the initiative at an end, Pro-Janitor Selina Conley of the Libertas Cooperative issued the following statement. The people of Moonshin, and our partners at Moonshin Manatee Meat, extend the warmest of thanks to all pilots who supported our project. Increased production of manatee meat will give a much-needed boost to the Moonshin system's economy. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Okrinox's orbiter in the Moonshin system. Appeal for computing commodities. Two rival technology companies, Supertech and Herculean Machines, have appealed for commodities to support the release of forthcoming products. Scorpio Devarro, CEO of Supertech, issued the following statement. The talk is the latest in personal computing, featuring state-of-the-art holographic technology. Anyone who wants to benefit from the next generation in wearable hardware should support its development. Meanwhile, Maddox Hurd, head of Herculean Machines, had this to say. The Jura drive cannot be rivaled for power or customizability. What people need in this challenging age is a robust product, not some ephemeral toy that malfunctions when exposed to a stiff breeze. To bring their products to market, both companies have placed open orders for commodities. Supertech requires conductive fabrics, robotics and microcontrollers, while Herculean Machines has asked for consumer technology, hardware diagnostic sensors and computer components. Pilots wishing to...
South Kruger, Tango, Hotel, Echo. You are now in Federation space. Follow all regulations before and after landing. Authorization cleared. Make your way to landing pad 39. Automated docking confirmed.
While pilots wishing to support Herculean Machines should deliver commodities to Calpadoc in the Anima system. The campaigns begin on the 20th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If either party achieves its aims earlier than planned, both campaigns will end immediately. Eventually he ran from the hall in panic. Lieutenant Inspector Ramesh Thorne, of the Federal Security Service, made this statement. We have placed Mr. Hardacre in custody while...
Contact Clark when ready.
We verify multiple instances of fraud and misuse of company funds. We are also investigating how his personal admin robot managed to obtain such information, and why it chose to make the data public at this time. Historical sculptures stolen. A collection of historically significant artworks has been stolen from the Imperial Museum of Culture on the OTNCs, A3. A local media report stated, the museum's most popular exhibit is the New Dawn collection, a sequence of sculptures by legendary artist Lal Kandromir. These figures date back nearly 1,000 years and commemorate the early settlers of OTNCs agreeing to join the Empire. This morning, visitors found the entire exhibit empty, with every single one of the Kandromir statues gone. Painted onto the wall was a graphic of a winking cat. The museum cannot explain how its security systems were so completely circumvented. Captain Madakivan.
Ship released. Regulate speed until clear of exclusion zone.
Of the Imperial Internal Security Service, commented, we are performing forensic analysis and interviewing all staff and visitors. As yet, we cannot confirm any connection between this theft and one that...
Landing gear retracted.
Code 3. 3 months ago in the Alioth system, despite the identical winking cat motif. We will make every effort to capture this criminal and recover these precious cultural artifacts. Starport status update. This report presents the latest data on Starport's experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed. Alexandria Dock, Shanab. Rondell Lab.
You have the all clear? Goodbye, Commander.
Hip 8855. 9-5. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. Black Station, Laosang. Pook's Dock, Hip 35873. Icaronay. Besta Terminal, Jen Nick. Burton Vision, Demo Corner. Capshi Dock, Decked. Klink Dock, Inmino. Saminas Hub, Newark. Sinclair Colony, Sankangu. Asimov Landing, LHS 2441. Mooches Platform, Deacon's Star. Smith Landing, Amber. Descartes Terminal, Nugwang. Rennie Hub, Kupol Boomba. Winkfist Terminal, NLTT 57216. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. An anonymous source has revealed that Maddox Hurd, owner of technology company Herculean Machines, was previously investigated by the Federal Security Service. The source disclosed that Hurd accepted financial contributions from individuals connected to criminal networks when establishing his company. In the wake of the news, a number of Herculean Machines corporate investors have withdrawn their support. The candidates in the Alliance presidential election have been announced. Fazia Silva, a successful entrepreneur from the VAM system, and Elijah Beck, an experienced politician from Leasty. It is understood that all three candidates, Kincaid, Silva and Beck, are roughly equal in terms of popular support. Meanwhile, Juanita Bishop has called on federal Congress to make Thargoid worship a capital crime, and for all members of the Far God cult to be executed. Some federal congressmen have aligned with Mrs. Bishop, eager to be seen as tough on Thargoids, but others have criticized her for her inhumane rhetoric. In other news, Ramtar has revealed more about the XG project, which produced the recently released XG fighters. In an interview, the engineer revealed that he had been trying to combine human and Guardian technology since the first Guardian ruins were discovered. He closed the interview by expressing hope that the XG project was the start of a new era of technological development. The Libertas Cooperative has announced plans to construct a manatee farm on behalf of food supplier München Manatee Meat. This will take the form of a megaship, where the creatures bred, processed and prepared for distribution. To facilitate construction of the manatee farm, the Libertas Cooperative
South Kruger, Tango, Hotel, Echo. Follow all federal docking protocols before attempting to dock. Okay,
has
Commander,
placed an
proceed to
open
landing
order of
pad
various
1.
commodities. She has delegated control of her corporate empire to her sister, freeing her to run for office. Elijah...
Landing sequence completed. Power down systems.
By contrast, is a highly experienced politician. Hailing from the Leasty system, he has served in the Assembly for over 4 decades. He is generally considered a safe pair of hands. It's unlikely that he would bring about any significant changes as president. Recent polls suggest that Kincaid, Silver and Beck are roughly equal in terms of popular support, but it's still early days. All three will vigorously campaign for support in the coming weeks, in advance of the public vote on Tuesday the 16th of October. Investors abandon Herculean machines. An anonymous source has revealed that Maddox Hurd, owner of technology company Herculean Machines, was previously investigated by the Federal Security Service. The source shared recently declassified FSS records on the Rewired News channel, and stated, "When establishing Herculean 5 years ago, Maddox Hurd accepted financial contributions from individuals connected to organized crime networks, such as the Red Family. While Hurd did not technically break the law, the FSS has kept a close eye on him ever since." In the wake of this news, a number of Herculean Machines corporate investors withdrew their support. Maddox Hurd told the media, "This is a smear campaign, and those underhanded snakes at Supertech are behind it." Scorpio Devorro, CEO of rival company Supertech, declined to comment, but Harlow Nasri, technology journalist at the Federal Times, observed, "With Herculean Machines losing investment and Supertech's facility destroyed, both companies are in a compromised position. Unless they can drum up additional support, neither will be able to unveil their new designs at the Rackham Ultratech Expo in October." Alliance Gala initiative concludes. The Alioth Independence has announced that its appeal for exotic food and drink has reached a successful conclusion, having received an overwhelming response from the Galactic community. Huge quantities of Esuseku caviar, ceremonial Hikiti and live Hecate sea worms were delivered to Smith Landing over the past week, which will now be used to host their gala event. With the initiative at an end, Jurian Ballas, chairman of the Alioth Independence, issued the following statement. "This will be an event like no other, and we are proud to be introducing Fazia Silva and Elijah Beck to the Galactic stage. Along with Gibson Kincaid, I'm sure they will soon do battle in a good-natured yet robust election campaign." Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Smith Landing, in the Amber system. Manatee Megaship Initiative. The Libertas Cooperative has announced plans to construct a manatee farm on behalf of food supplier Moonshine Manatee Meat. This will take the form of a megaship, where the creatures will be bred, processed and prepared for distribution. Progenitor Selena Conley of the Libertas Cooperative issued the following statement. "For years, the people of Moonshine have been lucky enough to dine on the finest meat in the galaxy. We are proud to be working in association with Moonshine Manatee Meat to help bring their product to a much wider consumer base. To facilitate construction of the Manatee Farm, the Libertas Cooperative has placed an open order for land enrichment systems, animal monitors, aquaponic systems and marine equipment. It promises to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to
Docking coupler disengaged. Observe station regulations on exit.
Nox's orbiter, in the Moonshine system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing material can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 13th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately.
Landing gear retracted.
Calls to execute Fargod worshippers. Juanita Bishop has called on federal Congress to make the Argoid worship a capital crime, and for all members of the Fargod cult to be executed. Addressing a rally during her congressional campaign, Mrs. Bishop stated, "I speak for all those who live in fear of the Argoid infiltration.
Shift drive charging.
If elected, I will make sure this foul cult is outlawed and all its followers put to death."
You have exceeded the station exclusion zone. Goodbye, Command.
Congress has duty to protect families from these alien-loving collaborators. Vihan Neven, an independent political analyst, commented, "Juanita Bishop's statement has triggered considerable debate in Congress. Some
Temperature critical.
Grossmen have aligned with her, eager to be seen as tough on the Thargoids. But others have criticized Mrs. Bishop for her inhumane rhetoric and for proposing the execution of federal citizens without trial. Meanwhile, the Federal Intelligence Agency continues to arrest adherents of the Thargoid sect and detain those who have had contact with them. As casualties from the Thargoid conflict mount, it's hard to see this most unlikely of faiths surviving much longer. The XG Project. In an interview with independent media outlet Vox Galactica, engineer Antar has discussed the XG Project, which produced the recently released XG fighters. Ever since the first Guardian ruins were discovered, I've been trying to combine their technology with our own. I drew up a blueprint for the original fighter, the XG-1, before inviting other technicians to refine the design with a view to producing something commercially viable. The seventh iteration, the XG-7, successfully merged human and Guardian ingenuity. The XG-8 Javelin and XG-9 Lance soon followed. When asked what the future holds, Ramtar remarked, "My hope is that the XG project is merely the start of a whole new era of technological development. While the current focus is the Thargoid threat, the achievements of our galactic forebears might one day improve every aspect of society." Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. The Alliance Assembly has agreed to vote on President Gibson Kincaid's proposed changes to the Constitution. Kincaid has lobbied for the role of president to be invested with executive powers, and for each presidential term to last 6 years. The vote will take place in mid-October, at the same time as the presidential election. A manufacturing complex owned by computer company Supertech has been destroyed by fire. All personnel managed to escape the blaze, but the fire has ruined the company's main production complex. Company CEO, Scorpio Devoro, expressed incredulity at the failure of the facility's fire suppression system. Meanwhile, the Federal Intelligence Agency has increased arrests of potential Thargoid sympathizers, as it continues to investigate the Thargoid cult. Independent observers have confirmed that the FIA has discovered further empty Thargoid hive chapels. The whereabouts of hundreds of adherents remains unknown. The Gnosis, flagship of the Canon Interstellar Research Group, has been left stranded following a Thargoid attack. A message from the ship's command crew confirmed that the incident caused severe internal damage to multiple systems, including the frame shift drive. The Gnosis is currently adrift close to the 8th planet of the UDOT's STI D96 system. In other news, the Mars Tribune has revealed that actor Thomas Turai, husband of Jupiter Rochester, has been having an extramarital affair with Olympian athlete Reagan Lord. Thomas Turai and August Lord, husband of Reagan Lord, have both announced their intention to sue the Tribune for defamation. The publication's owner, billionaire Kingsley Cordova, has confirmed that he will cover all legal costs in contesting both civil actions. Finally, a public appeal for Thargoid materials from the Thargoid sect has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community. Chancellor Regan Tanner, speaking on behalf of the organizing faction, said the success of the initiative was a victory for religious freedom. And those are the main stories this week. Fire destroys Supertech facility. A manufacturing complex owned by computer company Supertech has been destroyed by fire. All on-site personnel managed to escape the blaze without injury. Emergency crews were soon in attendance, but were unable to prevent the fire from swiftly consuming the facility. Supertech CEO Scorpio Devoro made this statement. "I regret to announce that the fire has ruined our main production complex. Dozens of prototype torque units were also irreparably damaged. This is a severe setback in the development of our new design. Investigators have been unable to pinpoint the cause of the blaze, or to explain why the fire suppression system in our state-of-the-art complex malfunctions so completely, along with the security cameras, internal alarms and thermal sensors." Maddox Hurd, head of rival company Herculean Machines, commented, "I'm glad to hear that everyone made it out okay. But I have to say, if Supertech's facilities are that poorly designed, I'd hate to imagine what their products are like." Both companies are due to unveil new personal computing devices at the Rackham Ultratech Expo in October, although it is now unclear if Supertech will take part in the trade show. Thargoid sympathizer arrests increase. The Federal Intelligence Agency has increased arrests of potential Thargoid sympathizers, as it continues to investigate the Thargod cult. Independent reporter Gethin Okonkwo, who first raised awareness of doomsayer cults in the core systems, has been reported missing and is assumed to have been arrested. Many others who were researching the Thargod sect remain in custody, including leading exotheologian Dr. Alfred Ulyanov. The FIA has also shut down the Galactic Interfaith Commune and apprehended its spokesperson, Dr. Jamie Le Griffin. Several similar organizations, including the Spiritual Freedom Movement, have been closed down. Independent observers have confirmed that the FIA has discovered further empty Thargod hive chapels. The whereabouts of hundreds of adherents remains unknown. In an effort to uncover clues, arrests of associates and family members of Thargod worshippers has intensified. Senior Agent Micah Whitefield gave a brief statement. "We will leave no stone unturned in our mission to identify Thargoid influences. The disappearance of Thargod chapters is clearly a coordinated operation of either human or alien design. We warn anyone who may be harboring cult members that they are impeding a federal investigation, and will face criminal charges." Thargod campaign concludes. LHS 2541 Alliance Combine has announced that its request for Thargoid materials for the Thargod sect has been enthusiastically received by the galactic community. Hundreds of pilots supported the campaign by delivering commodities to Wheelock Ring in the Zavicha system, and by eliminating agitators in Zavicha, thereby ensuring the safety of traders contributing to the initiative. Chancellor Regan Tanner, speaking on behalf of LHS 2541 Alliance Combine, released the following statement: "We would like to thank those pilots who delivered Thargoid materials, thus contributing to the furtherance of religious freedom throughout the galaxy. At this point we would also like to address rumors that the Thargod sect is experimenting on willing test subjects in the hopes of ascending to a higher form of life. We assert, in the strongest of terms, that this is baseless gossip. Pilots who contributed to the initiative can now collect their rewards from Wheelock Ring, in the Zavicha system." Alliance Presidential Gala. The Alioth Independence has announced plans to host a gala event in the Alioth system, to officially begin the Alliance presidential election. The event will give the as-yet unannounced presidential candidates an opportunity to meet distinguished figures from among the upper echelons of Alliance society. Jurian Ballas, chairman of Alioth Independence, issued the following statement: "Everyone's heard of President Gibson Kincaid, but the other candidates may not be so well known. This will be their chance to shine. As well as hosting key members of the Alliance Assembly, we can also confirm that Prime Minister Redmond Mahone and 3 members of the Council of Admirals will be in attendance. To make this a truly spectacular event, the Alioth Independents have placed an open order for Esuseku caviar, ceremonial Haiki tea and live Hikatesi worms, promising to reward pilots who deliver these commodities to Smith Landing, in the Amber system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those contributing material to the campaign can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 6th of September 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately." Assembly to vote on proposed changes. The Alliance Assembly has agreed to hold an internal vote on President Gibson Kincaid's proposed changes to the Constitution. Kincaid has lobbied for the role of President to be invested with executive powers, and for each presidential term to last 6 years. Prime Minister Redmond Mahone told the media. After much discussion, the Assembly has agreed to vote on President Kincaid's proposals in mid-October, at the same time as the presidential election. We will announce any amendments to the Constitution shortly afterwards. Milo Vesper, editor of the Alliance Tribune, discussed this development. President Kincaid's proposals are seen by some as a long overdue restructure of the political system. Compared to the current bureaucratic procedure, having a single person make all executive decisions has an obvious appeal. But some in the Assembly are concerned that such changes could imbue the President with emperor-like levels of authority. Prime Minister Mahone is playing down such fears, but the words constitutional crisis have already been heard in Parliament. Whatever happens, this could be the most significant election in the Alliance's history. Gnosis stranded. A scientific research vessel has been left stranded following a Thargoid attack. The Gnosis, flagship of the Cannon Interstellar Research Group, recently made a hyperspace jump towards the Cone Sector, FNJ, B90 system. A short time later, the following message was received from Captain Matthias Leander of the Gnosis command crew. We were a short way into our journey when the Gnosis was hyperdicted by a group of Thargoid vessels. The wrench back into real space caused severe internal damage to multiple systems, including the frame shift drive. There's no doubt that we would have been destroyed if not for some of the commanders traveling with us. They lured the Thargoids away while ejecting meta-alloys from their holds. The aliens were more interested in scooping up the meta-alloys than attacking us. The commanders later reported that the Thargoid vessels were the recently identified Hydra interceptors. The Gnosis is currently adrift close to the 8th planet of the UDOT's STI, D96 system. We have begun essential repairs, but there is a risk that the Thargoids may return before we can escape the system. Scandal hits Rochester family. The famous actor Thomas Turai, husband of Jupiter Rochester, has been revealed to be having an extramarital affair with an Olympian athlete. An article in the Mars Tribune stated, "For the last 3 years, Thomas Turai has conducted a secret relationship with Reagan Lord, who has won several Olympic gold medals for the Altair system. Their romantic liaison took place without the knowledge of Turai's husband, Jupiter Rochester, or their 2 children. There has been no response from Jupiter Rochester. The Rochester family is currently in a media lockdown following the cancelled wedding of Ambassador Jordan Rochester and Princess Aisling Duval. But Thomas Turai and August Lord, husband of Reagan Lord, have both announced their intention to sue the Mars Tribune for defamation. The publication's owner, billionaire Kingsley Cordova, has confirmed that he will personally cover all legal costs in contesting both civil actions. Lana Sigrid, chief editor of the Mars Tribune, published this comment: "We have an obligation to publish the truth wherever we find it. The detailed evidence we've obtained about Thomas Turai's behavior is beyond dispute. We employ the finest journalists in the Federation, and our soaring subscription figures prove we've earned the public's trust." Starport Status Update. This report presents the latest data on starports experiencing technical issues as a result of Thargoid sensor-related interference. The following starports are currently closed: Abeti Platform, Ross 1051, George Lucas, Leasty, Napier Station, HIP 94863, Tashaviano Dock, Happers, Sinisalo Holdings, HIP 19305, Thirsk Enterprise, Montet. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure: Alexandria Dock, Shinab, Alexeyev Hub, HIP 36485, Extra Refinery, Azrael, Matheson Prospect, 45 Tori, Rondalm Bear Lab, HIP 88595, Wheelock Ring, Zavisha. Week in Review. Here are this week's major stories. Independent pilots have engaged a previously unseen type of Thargoid vessel in both the Pleiades Nebula and the core systems. Admiral Aidan Tanner, Aegis's chief military liaison, confirmed that the new ship, classified as the Hydra, is a variant of the Thargoid Interceptor. Federal President Zachary Hudson has announced that Aegis Core is to relocate from Socho to the federal home system of Seoul. The move is a response to the criminal occupation of the Socho system, which led to the temporary immobilization of Aegis's Eagle Eye network, a system of orbital installations designed to determine potential Thargoid attack sites. Engineer Ramtar has detected unusual energy signatures in the NGC 2451A sector, the IC2391 sector and the Sinew FENH region. While the precise nature of the signals is unclear, Ramtar has encouraged independent pilots to investigate. In other news, the Colonia Council has announced that 4 engineers have established bases in the Colonia region to provide services to independent pilots. According to a statement, the Council consulted with engineers in the core systems to identify individuals who could offer similar services in Colonia. The date of Princess Aisling Duval.
South Kruger, Tango, Hotel, Echo. This is Federal Flight Control. Submit to random security scan under approach.
Ambassador Jordan. opposition to the proposal. Juanita Bishop, a leading campaigner against the Fargod cult, has announced that she is running for federal Congress. Mrs. Bishop's vocal condemnation of Thargoid worship has gained her a
Contact. Ground crew have been dispatched.
following in many federal systems. She is now campaigning to be elected to Congress as an independent candidate. In related news, the Fargod sect has issued a public request for Thargoid materials. It is understood that the objects will be revered as objects of worship, and will not be used in any xenobiological experiments. Finally, authorities in the Betel system have confirmed that the conflict between Betel Free and the Silver Creative Network has come to an end. Both factions received support from independent combat pilots, to whom generous rewards were promised, but ultimately there could be only one victor. It is hoped that the cessation of hostilities will preface a period of peace. And those are the main stories this week. Alliance President proposes changes. Alliance President Gibson Kincaid has confirmed he will campaign for re-election in October. Addressing the media, President Kincaid also said he wanted to make significant changes to the Alliance Constitution. The role of Alliance President is largely ceremonial. I believe that should change. I have been lobbying to invest the position with executive powers, over and above the Prime Minister and the Assembly. By streamlining our bureaucracy, we can make decisions as efficiently as the other superpowers. I also believe that each presidential incumbent should remain in office for 6 years, instead of a maximum of 2 one-year terms. That will allow time to renegotiate diplomatic relationships and correct past mistakes. Gibson Kincaid was the governor of the Zayance system before assuming the presidency in 3303. He has repeatedly claimed that the alliance is failing to fulfill its true potential. Prime Minister Edmund Mahone responded, "Our constitution has served us well for decades and I see no reason to amend it. Its system of checks and balances exists to prevent any individual from becoming too powerful and destabilizing the alliance. The other presidential candidates will be announced within the next 2 weeks." Computer designers' rivalry escalates. Maddox Hurd, owner of Herculean Machines, has publicly dismissed the efforts of rival company Supertech. Both companies are currently developing new computer designs. Mr. Hurd referred directly to Supertech's forthcoming product, the Talk, while addressing the media. There's a reason Herculean has never explored the concept of wearable devices. It's a ridiculous idea. I bet $1 million credits that those fragile...
Ship released. Regulate speed until clear of exclusion zone.
Gizmos will break, or their holograms will start glitching, the moment you turn them on. If you want a reliable piece of tech, you need the Jura drive. Believe me, our device will keep on working whatever you throw at it, and even if you throw it. When invited to comment, Supertech CEO Devorah responded,
Landing gear retracted.
"It's regrettable that those with a clear vision of the future are often denigrated by individuals of limited imagination. We offer an elegant and revolutionary approach to personal computing, not just a rubber brick with a screen. I'm sure customers will make the intelligent choice. Prototypes for both the Talk and the Jura Drive will be unveiled at the Racco Ultratech Expo on Wednesday, the 3rd of October. Fargod Campaign. The Thargoid worshipping sect that reveres an entity known as the Fargod has issued a request for Thargoid materials. Chancellor Regan Tanner,
Frameshift drive charging.
speaking on behalf of LHS 254.
4, 3, 2, 1.
One Alliance Combine, which is supporting the campaign, released the following statement. To maintain their privacy and avoid further persecution, members of the Fargod sect have approached us to facilitate the collection of Thargoid materials. They have made it explicit that these materials will be revered as objects of worship, and will not be used as part of any xenobiological experiments. In the interests of religious freedom, we have decided to fulfill their request. In support of this campaign, LHS 2541 Alliance Combine has placed an open order for various Thargoid materials, and has promised to reward pilots who deliver these goods to Wheelock Ring in the Zavitra system. The organization has also placed a kill order on all ships on its wanted list, to ensure that those delivering commodities to Wheelock Ring can do so safely. The campaign begins on the 30th of August 3304 and will run for 1 week. If the final target is met earlier than planned, the campaign will end immediately. conflict in Betel ends. Authorities in the Betel system have confirmed that the conflict between the Silver Creative Network and Betel Free has come to an end. Both factions received support from independent combat pilots, to whom generous rewards were promised, but ultimately there could be only one victor. General Hollis of Betel Security had this to say: "Now this feud has been resolved, we will hopefully see a period of prolonged peace in the system. Pilots who participated in the conflict can now collect their rewards from Amperpoles in the Betel system." Juanita Bishop runs for Congress. Juanita Bishop, a leading campaigner against the Thargoid cult, has announced that she is running for federal Congress. Mrs. Bishop's vocal condemnation of Thargoid worship has gained her a strong following in many federal systems. She is now campaigning to be elected to Congress as an independent candidate. At a rally protesting against the Thargoid sect, Mrs. Bishop addressed the crowd. "I may lack political experience."
Kruger Tango Hotel Echo. Federal Flight Control Channel open. Observe docking protocols if you wish to.
The system has descended further into chaos, culminating in the loss of services at Dantec Enterprise due to Thargoid sensor-related interference. This in turn led to the temporary immobilization of Aegis's Eagle Eye network.
Landing complete. Engines disengaged.
A system of orbital installations designed to determine potential Thargoid attack sites. In the wake of this calamity, Federal President Zachary Hudson has announced that Aegis Corps is to relocate from Sochi to the Federal Moon System of Sol. In a statement broadcast directly from the White House on Mars, Hudson said, "Recent events in Sochi have taught us that no matter the scale of the Thargoid threat, there will always be those more interested in fighting their fellow man than engaging the enemy. Let me be clear, we are at war. The weakening of our defenses cannot be tolerated. I have therefore agreed that Aegis Corps will relocate to the Sol system, where it can be properly protected. Aegis has been charged with defending humanity, and any attempt to undermine it is nothing less than an act of treason." New Thargoid interceptor encountered. Independent pilots have reported engaging a previously unseen type of Thargoid vessel. The Pilots Federation confirmed that several of its members have encountered the ship in both the Pleiades Nebula and the core systems. Commander Jingsheng Mendez gave this account. "My wingmate and I were both hyperdicted while traveling through the Pleiades. We assumed that together we could handle a single Thargoid ship, but this one really soaked up our firepower. I managed to get away, but Leone didn't make it. I've already started retooling my crate with the X-weapons. I want to head back down there and get some payback." Admiral Aidan Tanner, Aegis's chief military liaison, made this statement. "We can confirm that this new ship, classified as the Hydra, is a variant of the Thargoid Interceptor. It is structurally stronger than the Cyclops, Basilisk or Medusa."
Ship restraints retracted. Access corridor is clear.
And releases a larger swarm of Thargon drones. In response to this development, the Pilots Federation has sealed off the Cone Sector FNJ B90 system, which is believed to contain high concentrations of Hydro interceptors. Despite this, it is understood that the
Landing gear retracted.
This flagship of the Cannon Interstellar Research Corps will attempt to complete its scheduled jump into the now permit-locked system. The silence of Aisling Duval. The situation. Public reaction to the cancelled wedding has ranged from outrage to delight.
Frameshift drive charging.
Jasmina Halsey expressed regret at a lost of
4, 3, 2, 1.
opportunity for long-term peace, while Senator Zemina Torval called it the mercy killing of a catastrophically bad idea. With no word from the Imperial Palace or the White House, it's easy to imagine both Emperor Arissa and President Hudson breathing sighs of relief. But the silence from Aisling Duval and Jordan Rochester rings loudest. What might they be feeling? Was their relationship terminated against their wishes? Did it ever really exist? Naturally, I invited the princess to tell her story, but her previous openness is apparently a thing of the past. The Rochester family is also shying away from the media. Yal Torrido, whose alleged affair with Aisling apparently derailed their marriage, has vanished from public sight. Was this a tragic love triangle, or just a political chess game? We may never know. But what's certain is that before long, Aisling Duval will put these failures behind her and be back in the spotlight where she belongs. Unusual energy signatures detected. 3 recently detected energy signatures have been confirmed to be of a similar nature. The engineer Antar made a statement to the media. As part of my research, I regularly review data from surveillance satellites and ships that have picked up atypical signals. Although most turn out to be of no consequence, on this occasion I have identified 3 energy signatures that I believe warrant further investigation. The signals originate from the NGC 2451A sector, the IC2391 sector, and the Sinuefi-NH region. I have no further data, and at this time the signature's meaning remains a mystery. I encourage any independent pilots operating in these regions to investigate. I do of course apologize if this turns out to be a pointless exercise, but in the pursuit of scientific knowledge, even the smallest opportunity must be explored. Engineers established in Colonia. The Colonia Council has announced that 4 engineers have established bases in the Colonia region to provide services to independent pilots. Councillor Giselle Kingspear gave a statement to the media. The Council believes it has a duty to support those who contribute so much to the region's stability. That's why we have consulted with engineers in the core systems to identify individuals who could offer similar services here in Colonia. Consequently, we now have 4 engineers at planetary bases in the region. Mel Brandon is based in Lutane, and specializes in laser-based armaments, shields, engines and frame shift drives. Etienne Dawn in the Lost System, once lead engineer for Kraken Shield Specialists, is an expert on sensors, scanners and high-energy weaponry, among other things. Petra Ulmanova is in the Asurus system, and works with ship armor, countermeasures and explosive weapons, and Marsha Hicks, in the Tier system, offers upgrades in ballistic weaponry, fuel scoops, refineries and limpids. These engineers represent an important stage in Colonia's continued growth. The Council hopes that pilots operating in the region will find them beneficial. Starport status update. This report presents the latest data on Starport's experiencing technical...
Tango, Hotel, Echo. Request docking permission prior to touching down.
Issues as a result of sensor-related interference.
You're approved for automated docking sequence.
Following starports are currently closed. Crown Plant, Mudra Makasi. Crown Terminal, LHS 355. Fort Lawrence, XEOC. Fox Base, Paya.
Scan detected.
Fraknoi Holdings, Paya.
Maintain current vector, Commander.
Gautier de Varens Folly, HIP 13269. Grimwood Ring, HIP 94863. Hague Port,
Landing gear deployed.
OC. Hendok, Samantundi. Lichtenberg Dock, 3 Corvi. McLeod Hub, Nornan. McAllister Port, HR 6680. Parmid Anno Terminal, New Turi. Porges Horizons, G250.
Landing completed. Engaging docking restraints. Enjoy your stay at our facility, Commander.
Research Base, HIP 17225. Ross Orbital, Radomir. Sediment Gateway, wanted. Tana Ring, Socond. Haya. The following starports continue to experience technical issues. Weber Dock, Mean. Shaviano Dock, Happers. Thirsk Enterprise, Monted. Meanwhile, the following starports are on the brink of closure. George Lucas, Leasty. Somerset Station, Icaronet. Navia Station, HIP 94863. Ready Gateway, Corridor. Abeti Platform, Ross 1051. Week in review. Here are this week's major stories.
Ship is disengaged from landing pads to depart safely from the station.
The wedding of Princess Aisling Duval and Ambassador Jordan Rochester has been cancelled. The announcement follows anti-slavery campaigner Jarl Toredo's confession that he and Aisling Duval were romantically involved for several months. Meanwhile, Lakon Spaceways has announced that a new ship, the Alliance Crusader, will go on general sale on Tuesday the 28th of August. The ship, which is based on the Alliance Chieftain, boasts 3 internal military compartments and a fighter bay. Rival technology companies
Landing gear retracted.
and Herculean Machines have released press statements promoting new personal computer designs. Both companies have also confirmed they will be at the Rackham Ultratech Expo on Wednesday the 3rd of October, where they will reveal fully functional prototypes of their new devices. In other news, the Federal Intelligence Agency has revealed that members of the Fargod cult are disapproving
Shift drive charging.
in large numbers. While the FIA has speculated that adherents are abandoning the cult and attempting to return to normal life, there have been no reports of former Fargod worshippers returning to their friends and families. An expose published by the Mars Tribune has revealed that federal Congressman Morgan Unwin has close ties to a criminal organization. Information uncovered by the Tribune proves that Unwin used his influence to traffic drugs with the family cartel in order to keep his own addiction secret. Recent reports from the Betel system indicate that an ongoing feud between the Silver Creative Network and Betel 3 has escalated into violence. With system security forces stretched thin, both organizations are seizing the opportunity to settle old grudges and have issued calls for support. Finally, the Colonia Council has announced that its campaign to build a new hydroponics facility has been warmly received by the Galactic community. Large quantities of material were delivered to Templar Barracks over the past week, allowing the initiative to move to the construction phase. And those are the main stories this week. Lakon releases Alliance Crusader. Lakon Spaceways has announced that a new ship, the Alliance Crusader, will soon be available for purchase. Mira Kalanag, head of military projects at Lakon, gave some details to the media. The Alliance Crusader is mechanically similar to the Alliance Chieftain, with one key distinction. Our engineers have removed some internal hardware to accommodate a fighter bay. Inevitably, this means the Crusader is marginally slower and less maneuverable than its siblings, but this is compensated by its ability to ferry fighters into a conflict zone. The Crusader's offensive capabilities are enhanced with 3 internal military compartments. We are confident that the ship will be able to hold its own in any combat situation, especially against the Thargoids. The Alliance Crusader
Tango Hotel Echo, be aware. Weapon fire restrictions are in place in this sector. Too bad, too.
companies
Station deployed.
confirmed that they will be at the Rackham Ultratech Expo on Wednesday the 3rd of October. The technology trade show, sponsored by Rackham Capital Investments, focuses on the personal device market.
Touchdown. Thrusters offline. Deploying ground services.
Both companies aim to have fully functioning prototypes ready for the expo.
Package confirmed. You may leave when ready.
Landing gear retracted. Frameshift drive charging. Incoming mission critical message.
Galactic in review. Here are this week's major stories. Political journalist Vanya Driscoll has published an analysis of the Alliance presidential candidates. She has observed that while Elijah Beck seems content with the status quo, Fazia Silva has promised to boost the economy, and current President Gibson Kincaid has proposed that the role should include executive powers. In other news, business magnate Lloyd Hardacre has been arrested.
Scout Cruiser, Tango, Hotel, Echo. You are now in Federation space. Landing sequence completed. Ground crew have been dispatched. Docking coupler disengaged. Observe station regulations on exit.
Landing gear retracted. Frameshift drive charging.
You have exceeded the station exclusion zone. Watch your six, Commander.
Incoming mission critical message. Frameshift drive charging. drive charging.
safely from the station.
Landing gear retracted. Frameshift drive charging. Frameshift drive charging. critical message.
Approved for access. You are solid contact, securing ship. Welcome to our port, Commander. Docking restraints retracted. Clear to ascend.
Landing gear retracted. Shift drive charging. Hyperdrive charging.
reach. Ensure you're steering west before touching down, Commander. Okay, Commander. Proceed to landing pad 09er. Acknowledged, Commander. Clear for assisted docking. Decrease speed to 100.
Scan detected.
We've got some moderate traffic around the facility, Commander. Regulate your speed.
Landing gear deployed.
Docking confirmed. Dispatching ground crew. Good to have you, Commander. Detach is good. Regulate speed until outside the exclusion zone.
Landing gear retracted. Frameshift drive charging. Incoming message.